Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Am I still muted? No, I'm good. All righty. Sorry about that. I went on a hike this morning, had to make some breakfast and hop in the shower. I'm ready now. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. How is everybody's week so far?
It's going. How's
It's
yours?
going. It's going in a direction. We're not sure if it's going up, down, sideways, or left or right, but it is going. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Let's go over. Sorry, I'm just pulling up some of the stuff for today's class. Let's go over our daily calls, and let me share my screen. Oh, the host, Armand. Where is he? I need to be host so I could share my screen. But in the meantime, Batya, how was your calls? Did you make any contacts?
Hey, Jared. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a little hectic here. We have like a long week of Passover here. So the kids are home, and I honestly, it's more like in person, the people that I see. I actually got vaccinated.
Hey,
So I
okay.
was also thrown off that day. I was like on numb. Mentally and emotionally, I was so freaked out, but I'm happy I did it. Yeah, so I had like a few in-person conversations, but I really did not do what I usually do, and I can definitely see the results of that. And then hopefully after Passover, like on this coming week on Monday, I'm gonna start again.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. No. I hear you. How was the vaccine, by the way?
It was fine, totally fine. Just a little sore arm, but it was fine.
Good. Some people say that they get they feel like they have the flu, and other people are like, no big deal. It was just like
Right.
So glad that that was the case for you. Did you? How many calls? How many contacts? Even if it's like one or two, it's all good.
So it was 4 contacts. I would say those are like my main 4 people that I had like conversations with, but I did not like pick up the phone and do any like real phone calls. I had 4 conversations with people. 2 of them are thinking about moving, and the other 2, it was just like conversations. So
Nice. Well, 4 for 4. I like it. Good job. All righty, Cindy, how are you, my dear?
I'm good, thank you. I have a question
I have an
already.
I have an answer.
I have a buyer, and she found out the house that she's renting. An investor approached it, and they wanted to see if they could buy it. Long story short, she reached out to the property manager. Property manager didn't get back. When I looked it up on title, everything seemed to still be in order, and this was yesterday. Today in the morning,
So just start one more time. So you have somebody who wants to do just one more time.
she wanted to buy the house that she's living in right now.
Okay, so she's renting it right now.
Yes, as we speak.
Okay.
And then she found out that there was somebody interested in buying it, and she wanted to approach the owner to possibly buy it because she likes it that much.
Yeah.
She asked the property manager, and the property manager never got back to her until today in the morning. Yesterday, when I went on my First AM app, everything looked current, like it was still the same owner, nothing's changed. She goes, this morning, the property manager responded, we closed escrow, don't pay us rent, we're buying it, pay rent to the new landlord.
So actually, she has right of first refusal. Technically, they should have approached her first to see if she wishes to purchase it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would talk to her broker, ask what her options are, because she might want to.
The rental has the right of first refusal.
Yes, the person who's renting the property has right of first refusal.
Okay, I'm writing it.
Go, Cindy, get it.
First refusal. And okay.
she may need to seek legal counsel if she wishes to purchase it. Now, otherwise, she's just a renter. So it's tricky. I mean, they closed already, so what do you do? Do you sue the new owner? Do you sue the old person? So it's tricky. I'm not sure. There might be a very clear cut answer to this, but I don't know that right now. So I would say talk to our broker, Michael Rosales, and then also he may recommend going to a lawyer. I don't know what the course of action is for this situation. If she's really upset, like, whoa, dude, I wanted to buy this. Why didn't anybody mention this to me? This is BS, and she's really upset about it. Then she may want to seek legal counsel. If she doesn't really care, and as long as she's not getting kicked out and she can continue her lease, it might not be a big deal. I don't know.
Her lease just turned month to month.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, don't sign anything as of yet, because depending on what you want to do, you might want to stay there and continue to rent it. Just think about this with your fiance. She wanted to buy it at that time, and then her fiance was on the fence. But yesterday, per our conversation, she was going to go on with it because.
So Cindy, the most important thing I need to ask you: did they give her an option to buy it? Because it sounds like she knew that they were selling it.
No, they did not give her an option.
Did they say, hey, we're putting the house up for sale?
No, the only reason she found out is because they came to the house to look at it. And she said that she asked the owner, the property manager, is this for sale? Is this house for sale? And then they said, perhaps, or something like that. They gave her like a non.
Yeah. So the property manager, is one thing. Really, she really should have been talking directly to the owner of the property. But anyway, I would talk to Michael Rosales, ask what your tenant can do in this situation. And she may need to seek legal counsel. But that's the answer that I have for you right now. Technically speaking, though, she's supposed to have right of first refusal, and that's pretty cut and dry. So get on it, and but they would have to get on it fast, like real fast.
Okay. Can you do me a favor and put Michael Rosales' phone number in the chat?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let me make sure I have his number.
So that was this morning. I was like, what? I just looked at title yesterday.
Okay.
How long does it take for title to put it it takes a while, like a minute or two, right?
Depends. I mean, once it recorded, title changes.
Because I looked at it yesterday, Jared. I swear, like around 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon, and nothing.
But if they closed yesterday or this morning, then it would show a new ownership.
Okay.
Now they may, again, if she's talking to the property manager, you might not be getting the full story. Frankly, they may say it's closed and it's sold, but they could still be in escrow. So you still need to get some more info. If you look on title today and it says a different name now than it did yesterday, then they probably just closed recently on it.
Got it. Yeah.
Michael.
Thank you.
I don't know if I spelled his name right, but anyway. Okay, so I just put it in the chat box, Cindy.
You're the mom.
Alrighty. I know. No, I'm kidding. Well, good job. So how many calls did you make?
10, and then 5, and then I got a referral for a new buyer.
Beautiful. Awesome.
And another question, sorry. If we were to do like showings for another agent and they pay us by the hour, how does that normally work? Because I just got an email.
One more time?
So let's say you had showings for a house in Santa Monica and you couldn't make it. And then you email me and say, Cindy, would you want to show the house and I'll pay you by the hour or whatever in Santa Monica?
Yeah.
How does that normally work? I've never.
It's pretty much in the description.
It is? Okay. But
yeah, they'll pay you by the hour, however long.
But do they give you? Okay. However they're long. Okay. Yeah. Like if I can't ask them to keep the referrals or anything like that?
No, you can. I can.
Okay.
Everything's up for negotiation in life. I mean, for example, during the pandemic, you're not supposed to eat inside in restaurants, but I swindled my way into a couple restaurants late at night
Okay.
and, had a couple drinks at a bar.
Okay.
Everything in life is negotiable. Just because
Right.
the
I
rules
just
are
don't
set,
want to
doesn't
do
mean,
things distastefully. I just
nah,
don't.
forget to sit. Listen, anything you want in life, you're not going to get it unless you ask. It's all no's until you ask the question. So
True.
ask the question, just say, hey, I'm happy to do this. By the by, if I pick up a buyer on this, is it mine to keep? Or, how do you want me to run this? It is their open house. So, technically speaking, you're going to honor whatever they're
Right.
requesting of you. But it doesn't hurt to go, by the by, if an unaccompanied, buyer walks in and they don't have an agent and they're saying they want to write an offer, would you mind if I represented the buyer? And if they go, no, that's totally fine, great, you're done. Get it in
Perfect.
writing, get it in an email. Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Thank
yeah. I mean, frankly, if I'm asking somebody to sit my open house, like, I don't typically pay people by the hour for that. I'll just say, hey, if you get a buyer, give me 20%. If you close on that for the property, that's what I typically would do.
Mhm.
So it gives people an incentive to pick up buyers. I'm not worried about missing a potential sale myself. And 20% is more than enough for me to say goodbye to that buyer for life, and it's now their client. So, that's the way I look at it. And sometimes, listen, if it's like, depending on the purchase price, I might even just say, you know what, I'm not going to pay you, but if you get any buyers, they're yours to keep. I don't want anything. It's fine. So everything's negotiable though. So
Okay.
I would say just ask the question. All
Thank
right.
you.
All righty. Taylor Dixon.
Hey Jared, how are you?
I'm good. Did you have a name for
It's funny. So actually, I go by Morgan, but I actually uploaded my Facebook profile to Zoom today, and I'm Taylor on there because I went by Taylor in Alabama. So
I like
whichever you want to call me, doesn't matter.
Can you say Alabama one more time?
Alabama.
Awesome. I just like the accent. Awesome. Very cool. Okay, I'm looking for Morgan now. But you threw me off for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Wait, do you have a sister? No, it's all good. Okay, how is your week so far, and how many calls, how many contacts?
It was good. Actually just made 5 calls and all 5 contacts to just some more friends, like reaching out. I actually did call the DRE about 20 times, so that's where all my calls went since Monday. But still no number, so I'm just trying to really get that underway so I can,
That's so frustrating.
Yeah, they're like a week late at this point. So once I get that, I'm really gonna like make headway. But as of right now, I'm just still communicating with friends and, going about it that way.
Nice. I like it. Well, keep it up. Awesome. Well, good job. And awesome. All righty. Josh, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
Not half bad. Hanging in there. Went on a nice hike this morning. How was your week so far? Make any calls? Make any contacts? What's the what?
Yeah, since Monday, I made 11 calls, got in touch with 4 of them. No appointments yet from them, but I officially did like my social media rounds yesterday, like posting job updates and everything, which actually, because I moved out here recently, so got in touch with a lot of people just doing that. So hopefully that.
Nice.
I was in New York for the past 2.5 years.
Oh, cool. How do you like? What made you want to make the move? Were you originally from here?
No, I'm originally from Wisconsin, actually.
Oh, cool. Good cheese out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I like it. Very cool, man.
Wait, sorry, keep that. My connection's really bad.
Oh no, you're all good. Welcome to LA, and keep it up. You'll knock them down. I'm positive. All righty, the man. Thank you very much. The man of the hour, Ari Salinas.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
I'm here.
Did you call that? Did you call that for sale by owner?
I did. I left a
Fuck.
voicemail. But I'm still waiting to hear back. I feel like every time I contact him, it's like I have to wait like a whole week to actually like get one response back. So
Yeah.
everything's moving slow.
You know what? Like molasses, but it tastes so good once you get when you get it in the jar.
Yeah.
So don't worry, you'll keep it up, and eventually you'll get it. I'm positive about that. And other than that, how many contacts? How many calls?
I've called 5. Only was able to speak to 2 of them since Monday.
5 and 2. I like it. Sounds like a plan. Awesome. Well, listen, Ari, I also want to say one thing. I like that I want you to keep up, hounding that guy, try to get him to list this property with you, because I know that you'll do a better job marketing it and selling it than he could do. But I also want to throw some caution. Don't be discouraged if you don't get the result that you want. People are dealing with, their own lives, their own dramas, their own, mental hurdles that they've set up for themselves. And, unlike us, the awesome real estate agents that we are, working on getting through our kinks and, trying to perfect ourselves or whatever, most people are kind of stuck in their ways. And, a person who doesn't, want to list their house with a real estate professional clearly has some weird motives in their own head. So, it is going to be an uphill battle, but I know that once you get to the top of that hill, it's going to be worth it. So keep it up, and, good job, bud.
Thank you. I'm trying not to take anything too personal, but
Nah, you can't. You gotta be like Teflon.
yeah, exactly.
You're the Teflon man. Everything just slides right off you. Like, pwah, 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 pwah. It's great. Awesome. Cool. All righty. So let us get into it. Today is negotiating the deal, which is one of my favorite things to do. Whenever I'm in negotiations, I'm a happy person. I don't know. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment or something like that, but I love it. I think it's fun. You kind of get into somebody's head a little bit. It's just great. Let me get over to all right. Negotiate the deal. Find common ground for a win-win agreement. Now, before we get into this, what is a negotiation? I mean, it says it right there, but I want to see if anybody caught that. It's to try to find a common ground between two parties. All right. Negotiation our mindset should not be, I'm just trying to kill it for my one side and just screw them over. You want to keep everybody in a good mood. If you're doing negotiations well, everybody's going to leave that negotiation table feeling like, you know what, this was fair. And whenever I go into a negotiation, especially if it's going to be a contentious one, I want to put out into the universe, and then sometimes I will start with this. If at any point in these discussions you feel I'm treating you unfairly, I would like you to let me know. It is my goal to treat everybody fairly in this process and to achieve a win-win for all parties. Sound fair enough? Sounds fair enough. And then we get into the negotiations and we talk about what our wants and desires and needs are. So a negotiation is not just, trying to be a gladiator for your client and just bludgeon the other side. You're just trying to find a common ground that everybody on both sides are going to walk away from the deal feeling like, you know what, I got a fair shake. I like this. Now, in the same time, we also want to be fair to our clients. And sometimes we have to, and this is where a lot of people get confused with thinking they just need to bludgeon the other side. But there are some instances where, you know what, I realize from my buyer or for my seller, it is a little bit unfair, and I need to explain to the other side why it is unfair for them to ask for this. And then we're going to try to explain and show to that side why it's unfair to ask for this, and why it is more fair to either do the repair that we're asking for, or the credit that we're asking for, or if you're representing the seller, to not do that and stay in the deal as is. So, all righty. So today's expectations: learn negotiation tips, understand the most common points of a negotiation, walk through the 3 Ps approach of the negotiation process, and identify negotiation tactics and counter tactics. My favorite part. All righty. So the action reveal, we already did that, which is basically part of our daily 10-4. The most important part, of course, which is lead generation. How many calls, how many contacts. But I keep on forgetting because I'm so forgetful. I'm such a stupid teacher. I know it. What are the daily 10-4s? What is it? I forget. Cindy, can you help me out?
You're gonna have to help me too, because I forget also.
What?
And
No,
that-
you've done all the classes. You should know by now.
Go to 10 houses a week. is
Yep.
one of them, right?
Yep.
Call people,
How many?
as many as you can,
Until you get how many contacts?
as many as you can.
It's a daily 10 for. There's 10,
10
names.
client,
10 contacts. Yep. So 10 houses, 10 contacts,
and that's from what I remember right now.
10 people in your CR.
M's.
Bam. There we go. 10 people in our CRM. And then how many? What am I doing?
You're writing.
What am I writing?
Who else wants to help here, guys?
Handwritten notes.
Handwritten
Write
notes. There we
letters.
go.
There you
Taylor
go.
Morgan Dixon for the win. Awesome. So it's basically what we really want to focus on is 10 contacts per day, 10 handwritten notes as a follow-up for the previous day's 10 contacts. Then we're going to do 10 people added to our CRM, and then it's going to be 10 homes previewed per week. That's the only one. The last one is the only one that we're doing per week. All the other ones are daily. The previewing homes is going to be a per week number. So good job, Taylor, and good job, Cindy, Morgan, Taylor, whatever.
You can just say both. It's totally fine.
Good job, Miss Dixon, and good job, Miss Melendez. All righty.
Thank you for helping, Miss Dixon.
No worries. I gotcha.
Get your head in the game. All righty. Negotiations are an integral part of most real estate transactions. In fact, they are so important that in 2014, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, survey of buyers and sellers, negotiations ranked second in the list of what buyers want most from their agent and ranked sixth in what sellers want from their agent. That's scary. Anyway, as with the offer process, negotiation is a pivotal point. It can literally be the deal maker or deal breaker. Negotiations can actually happen twice during this contract process. Forget that, it happens the whole time. During the offer phase with the goal of getting into contract, during the option period while under contract with the goal of closing the contract. I would say even before you write an offer, you are prepping for negotiations. You are going to be asking what the seller is looking for, what the seller what the seller's goal is. Are they moving someplace? Do they have a replacement home? Do they need a short close, or are they looking to stay in the house longer? Do they need a rent back? We're asking all these questions because we're going to prep for negotiations. So you're not necessarily in the negotiation phase then, but you are taking notes. You're trying to get inside the other side's mind. And then, of course, during the offer phase, when you're actually writing the offer, you have all this amazing information about what the seller actually wants. You're going to try to implement that into your deal. And what do we try to do when we're writing an offer? We're trying to make our offer stand out as the best offer possible for the seller. So we're going to seem super happy, super convenient, super workable, super, what's the word I'm looking for? Accommodating to the seller's needs, even if we know we are going to rake them over the coals during escrow. Anyway, but of course, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to find a win-win and be fair for all sides. So anyway, and then during the option period, while under contract, we might find that there are some repairs that are necessary for us to be able to move forward with this escrow. We may find out that, I don't know, you might need some more time for your loan approval to go through. There are different periods in which we might need to negotiate while we are in escrow. And typically it is going to be along all of the contingency periods. And then also even when we are recording, the recorder's office may be running late. You may have an agent saying, what the heck, we're supposed to close today. I want a per diem per day for every single day that we don't close. You got to have a cool head and be able to negotiate on behalf of your client and say, well, this isn't fair. Let's have this conversation if we don't close within 3 days. But for right now, let's not rock the boat. Let's keep all people calm and handle our clients' expectations. You and I both know as real estate professionals, up to 3 days is not late, according to the state of California. And if they are not aware of that, remind them that actually, if this happened to, God forbid, ever go to the courts, 3 days is not considered late. So in any event, we're going to be negotiating throughout the entire deal. Alrighty. After investing so much time and energy to move a lead, all the way to the agreement and then to the sales contract, do not let a deal fall through now. Your ability to negotiate will directly influence your rate of contracts that close. I am very proud. I have never fallen out of an escrow as long as I have a willing buyer and a willing seller. Even if it's getting rocky, I've never fallen out of escrow, period. Now, there are a couple of situations where I did remove my buyer from an escrow because they found out that there was a huge landslide issue at the bottom of a hill. That is different. That is a material fact that was not known before writing an offer. Understandable. Okay. Leads, appointments, agreements, and then you are here contracts, and then eventually close, payday. And so we are in the thick of it right now. All right, make it happen. Negotiation. If I could have Josh Schneider, you could read this page for us. That would be awesome. And get down to negotiation at the end of this little negotiation chat bubble, but start at the top. And then I'll read the buyer agent, seller agent, blah, 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 blah.
Got it. Make it happen. Negotiation. You may not realize it, but you are almost always negotiating. When there is something that you want, that new car for the price you want to pay, for your friend to see your point of view in an argument, or for your child to do the dishes. The truth is that whatever you want is often owned or controlled by someone else. The way to get what you want is through negotiation. Negotiation. Bargaining, give and take, process between two or more parties, each with its own aims, needs, and viewpoints, seeking to discover a common ground and reach an agreement to settle a matter of mutual concern or resolve a conflict.
I love it.
In real estate, yeah. Jared, do you mind copying and pasting a link into the chat so we can open it
oh, for sure.
like on our computers as well?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hold on. Give me a second. Boom. Copy. And into the chat. All righty, so I'm putting the material right now in the chat. I apologize, I usually do that in the beginning. So here it is in the chat. Want to come up, Ed? No? All right. Okay, so I just put it in the chat. We are on, what page are we on? We are on page 10 of 33, Make It Happen negotiation. And thank you very much, Josh, for reading that. Okay. So we have a buyer agent, and we have the buyer, the buyer agent, the listing agent, and the seller. Obviously, it is a ever-revolving deal of negotiations. The buyer's basically negotiating with their own agent. The seller's basically negotiation with their own listing agent, and then the buyer's agent and the listing agent kind of bring both ideas together and try to, make them seem a little bit more reasonable for the other side. Okay, we are going to watch a video on negotiating. And let's get right into it. With Josh Anderson, he typically makes some pretty darn good videos, if you ask me. And here we go. And also, this is very true. Negotiations are all about asking the right questions. So here we go.
I'm Josh Anderson from Nashville, Tennessee. I've been with Keller Williams since 2006. 2014, we did about 200 transactions for about $60 million in volume. I grew up on a farm, so I've always seen my dad negotiating land and cows and horses, being the youngest of four, and I'm trading and negotiating with my brothers all growing up. So I've kind of done it all the time. Some people are certainly gravitate toward it and are naturally better at it than others. But I think that negotiation can definitely be learned. I think there's a lot of skills that go into being a great negotiator. I think it's learning your client. Instead of kind of assuming that you know what's important to them, really asking a lot of questions and letting them tell you what they need or want, and then speaking to the other agent and finding out what's most important to their client. And there's some agents that just don't give any. When I have an agent that I'm dealing with that's very tight-lipped, I just keep asking questions, and they give me information that they might not have otherwise given, whether it's a divorce or a death, or it's just they got relocated to some other city. And I think if you're really listening and being intentional and purposeful about listening, you'll find out exactly what's important to them or what they have to have. In certain situations, you have to be creative. We're always looking for that next little tip to help our clients out and win the deals. One of the techniques that we've used a lot that's worked well for us is the escalation clause. For example, if the property is listed at $250,000, we might go in at $250,000 with strong terms, and in special stipulations, we might put in there that we're willing to beat the next best documented offer by $1,000 up to $263,000. And the best offer might be $261,000, so we end up getting it for $262,000. From a client standpoint, be willing to have a real conversation with your clients. It's not us just being realtors for them. It's us consulting and advising and really telling them, if you really want this property, here's what you have to do to get it. Everybody's got a different way of how they would negotiate. And networking with other Keller Williams agents around the country, the more you hear it, the more ideas you get. And then you end up gearing it towards you and what you think is going to work best for you and your clients. A lot of it comes down to experience. And I think the more deals you do, the more comfortable you get with it. If you can step back from every transaction and learn something, you're going to get really good over time.
Okay, couple things I want to talk about when it comes to what we just saw, the gentleman who was just speaking. First of all, does everybody know what an escalation clause is? Not all at
The
once.
clause to like speed up the process of the deal.
No, an escalation clause. Good. I like where your head's going. Very logical thought process.
Is it when you submit an offer and you basically put in to where you would like go up $1,000, like he was saying, to a max amount?
Absolutely, 100%. And why would that be very beneficial in today's market? I'm just grabbing something real quick. I'm listening. I can hear you. Why would it be beneficial in today's market?
Because there's so many offers coming in at one time, you want to stand out a little bit. You know, you want to be a little bit different.
Absolutely. And frankly, you know, you want to stand out and be a little bit different, Batya. And also, aren't things going very much so over asking price in today's market?
Yeah.
So in this way, I could submit an offer and tell an agent, listen, I would like to submit this offer. We're going to come in what we think is a strong offer. Obviously, this market's crazy. Because this market is crazy and because I want to ensure that my client gets this house, they've agreed to an escalation clause. So we're going to come in at this offer. So if you start shopping it around, this is where we're at. But if somebody happens to beat us, somebody happens to go above us, we will beat them by, I would actually recommend $5,000 because frankly, $1,000 ain't that much. So I would say by $5,000 up to this price. And, you know, frankly, in that way, I would only do this if I got a verbal agreement as well from the agent that if I wrote this, would they agree to just put us into escrow right away and not counter the other parties? Make sense?
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with communicating with the other side. Now, of course, they could be, you know, BS artists and just say, yeah, I'll do that. And then just go ahead and tell their, you know, agent buddy in their office, hey, this is where they're at, you know, blow them out of the water, you know, which is kind of shady. But, you know, typically that doesn't happen. That's a pretty ballsy move. If you got caught doing that, that's a little bit scandaloso. So anyway, yeah, I like to use escalation clauses. They're great. And I'm starting to use them almost in most of my offers whenever I write them. What else? What about his demeanor? do you think that he seems like a guy who's going to bludgeon the other side when he's in a negotiation?
No, he really sounds like he listens, and
Yeah.
he listens for clues, and he gets the whole story, which definitely helps him. I also like that, as a new agent, you need to find your you need to take that leap in being able to be assertive with your client and direct them. And I think going from a new agent to like a more seasoned agent, that's something you really need to learn. I'm trying to learn that now. And I see how like your clients in a way are begging you to be assertive and to literally tell them what to do. So you need to find that line, because in a way you're like new and you haven't really done this. So that's why you need to like be up to date with the market and really, educate yourself so that you know how to direct them, but they're like craving it, they need it, and you need to learn how to do that.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things that I like to do, and sometimes this works for people, sometimes it turns them off. So you really have to read the other side really, really well. If you're working with a buyer, and they're talking about writing their first offer. Like, what do you think it's worth? What do you think we should write at? And I go, it's interesting when you say that. What do I think we should write at? Honestly, what I think it should be whatever you feel comfortable with, first and foremost. But whenever I'm working with a new buyer and they're writing their first offer, there's a couple things that come into my mind. There's two different types of buyers. There's the buyer who is going to come in, very, very guard up, walls up and everything. And they're going to try to write a really low offer and try to, play this game where they try to, steal the house for under asking. That's fine. Believe me, that's what I would want to do too. Then there's the other buyer who, kind of understands what's happening with the market. So, I would say, listen, whatever you feel comfortable with, but I know that the market right now, homes are going for like, $100,000 over asking price in some instances. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen with this house, but if we were to write an offer, I'd like us to go as strong as possible, rather than learn the hard way and miss this house. Let's be strong with it, and then we kind of have a little bit of a dialogue. But when I end up getting to is what I always see happens is, we'll write an offer, they'll get beat out. We'll write an offer, we'll get beat out, and then by the third home, we finally get the picture. We have to be very aggressive, and then we finally write that right offer that gets accepted. If we're able to, let's try to jump to that stage. But blah 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 blah. And now again, that's a very aggressive kind of tactic to kind of explain to somebody. But if you're having an open dialogue, my client in Santa Barbara, we wrote 2 offers and we closed escrow within 30 days, of working together. And the reason why that happened was, one, I built a lot of rapport with her. I went to college with her, so she trusted me a lot. But I was being honest. I wasn't BSing her. And, the first offer that we wrote, we missed it by $5,000. And I was professionally honest the entire time. And I told them, I'm telling you right now, you're going to miss this house for only $5,000. We need to be at this price. I promise you, if we're here, we'll get it. Sure enough, we didn't write it. They lost it for a mere $5,000. And on the next one, they said, Jared, we are listening to you. So, and surprisingly enough, that one, we were going to be about, I think about $80,000 above asking price. But the next one, we got it for only $10,000 above asking price. Now, so that's basically, I'm saying my strategy isn't always just blow it out of the water by $100,000 or close to it. Get a feel of the situation, and as long as they trust you, you're going to be able to work your magic and get them into escrow. But the main thing is as us as agents, we want to convey to our clients that, and be professionally honest, that we are working in their best interest. So, and the one thing that I really liked about that gentleman, by the by, his demeanor was very calming. I'm very excitable. I talk very fast. I'm all over the place sometimes. That's kind of just my personality. But when sometimes I'm in negotiations with the other side, all of a sudden I slow everything down. Let's talk. What's going on with your client? Absolutely, I understand. Sounds like your client's frustrated. Why? What's happening? Okay, I understand that they want that. let me go talk to my side. I'm not all like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I want to slow the process down. And when people are a little bit frustrated, they tend to want to speed it up. And it's an interesting, kind of thing to keep in mind. So when you're in a contentious, negotiation with the other side, and they're, fangs out, gloves on and all this kind of stuff, don't mirror that. Be the opposite. Be cool as a cucumber. Be relaxed, be calm, be almost like creepy calm, and see what happens. In fact, talk less and let the other side just ramble on. And all of a sudden you're going to hear that they're giving you little tidbits. I told them that this wouldn't, blah, 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 blah. So you're the problem, not me, not my client. Oh, so you're actually saying that it sounds like they are going to accept this, but you're just trying to get a little consolation prize for them. So my point is when you calm things down and slow things down, and the other side is trying to escalate and speed things up, you're going to be able to get little nuggets of gold and use it against them. So I like that about this gentleman, because he knows how to slow it down. Blah 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 blah. He has like nice pauses in his speech patterns. It's good. He's thinking about what he's saying before he's saying it. When you're really, really excitable, you kind of just say stuff. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Come on, y'all. Let's participate. Let's get a participation trophy. I got most coachable. It was a nice participation trophy. Anyway, we got those awards recently. That was fun. Okay, negotiation tips. Keep the following tips in mind as you work toward mastery in negotiation. Did I share the screen? I think I did. Yeah. Okay. Okay, above all else, be professional. What does that mean? Don't cuss out the other side. If things are not going your way, don't tell them they're an expletive. Just be calm, be cool. Remember, your goal is a signed contract. This is what you're driving towards, and it's what both agents and their clients have in mind. Even if the deal feels like it's falling apart, remind yourself, wait a second. They want to sell their property. We want to buy their property. Let's calm this down. Let's slow it down and figure out what we can do to have a melting of the minds and come to an agreement. All right, control what you say to anyone involved in the transaction. If you create an anxiety in your client or other parties, you are reducing their leverage in negotiations. Now, I don't mind when there's anxiety with the listing agent sometimes, because sometimes I'm able to get some stuff out of there, but if I feel that they're at a level 10, I want to bring them down a bit. I don't want them to blow up the deal because they're getting flustered, because you'll be surprised. A lot of agents are not smart. I hate to say it. They will blow a deal up for no reason whatsoever, for their own pride and ego, instead of just going back to their clients and going, you know what, I have to be honest, this makes sense. And I've done that with my clients too. I'm not saying that I've never been wrong in a negotiation. I've gone for, for example, my closing in Santa Barbara, I went for I think it was like, I don't know, 17, 18, almost $20,000 request for repair. We got $10,000 back. Great. I'm happy with that. And she was like, you're ridiculous for asking for this much. And I'm like, you're probably right, but what can we work with? And so we got what we got. And, I went back to my side and I said, listen, I think this is more than acceptable. It was. And we all agreed and everybody was happy. Okay. Continually refer back to motivation. Remind your client that they want to buy or sell, and help them reevaluate their request if they're becoming unreasonable. This is very important to do. Obviously, the listing side might not let me know that they're being reasonable with their sellers, but more often than not, it sounds like the listing side is just being ridiculous and making the deal harder. So when you're the listing agent, remind your sellers like, hey, I understand this is what we want, but these things did come up in the inspection report. Let's talk about this. If we end up having to get out of escrow and we cancel this escrow because we are not agreeing to their credits, or we're not agreeing to their repairs, or at least trying to meet them halfway, we're going to have to go to another buyer, show them all of these reports that came up, explain that we fell out of escrow because of the reports, and then they're just going to have an inspector ignore all of the stuff that they've already found and find other things to look for. So, really, let's slow this down a little bit. You want to sell, right? Yes, I do. They're asking for $50,000 off. I think that's a ridiculous request too. Can we meet them somewhere in the middle? Maybe we can do $40,000 off. They say, no, that's crazy. Well, what's appropriate to you? 25,000? Okay, great. I can work with that. 25,000, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer Agent. Listen, I think 50,000 is ridiculous, but in the interest of keeping things moving, we'll agree to 15,000. I know they said 25, but we'll go 15. And they say no to that, fine, we'll do 25. And we meet in the middle, great, done deal. All right, don't reveal too much. Like I just said, they said 25, I'm saying 15 first. Listen more than you talk. Keep your client's motivation close to your chest. Don't reveal too much to the other side. They are not your friend. Be cordial, be nice, but they're not your friend. Don't be attached to the outcome. You'll do hundreds of thousands of transactions in your career. I hope there's hundreds of thousands. And there's no way you can get everything you and your clients want all the time. Don't let it affect your mindset if a deal doesn't go through, or if your client doesn't act on your recommendation. Find a different win for your client. This one is the most frustrating one sometimes. If your client doesn't act on your recommendation. Listen, we are the pros. We hope that they would be listening to our recommendations, but sometimes they do not. That's okay. Don't let it get you too flustered. Sometimes I've learned, I take my ego out, and all of a sudden I realize, my client was right. We should be going at this, and they get it. And I go back to the listing agent. I'm convinced the deal's going to fall apart. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then you know what? They go, you know what? Fine, that's good. Holy shit, my client was right. Great, awesome. Don't let it get in the way. All righty. Common points of negotiation. Ms. Melendez. Cindy.
Sorry, I'm on the call with my buyer that I was talking to you about right now. I'm talking
Get
about
on
her
the call with
contract.
your buyer.
Okay, but I'm listening to you.
Awesome. How about you, Ms. Dixon?
Hey, no problem.
Awesome. Let's do common points of the negotiation. I will bring this up a little bit. There we go.
Okay, common points of negotiation. During the negotiation process, price and terms are common points of negotiation. Number 1, price. While the sales price is the primary focus in negotiations, it is not necessarily the bottom line. In a situation where a seller receives multiple offers at the same price, it is the terms of those offers, in addition to the buyer's financial position, that will determine which one wins. Number 2, terms. The terms of an offer may be financial or time-based or both. When the buyer and seller can't agree on a sales price, the following 5 offer terms come into play. Closing costs. Traditionally paid by the buyer, closing costs are in addition to the purchase price. Securing the cash to pay these expenses can be difficult for some, especially for first-time home buyers. Therefore, the seller may be asked to pay a portion of the closing cost. When you represent a seller, make your client aware that it's common for buyers to ask for part of the closing costs to be covered by them and what their options are. Closing date. When the seller has a very specific time frame for moving, the buyer has the upper hand and can leverage this by being more flexible with the closing costs, with the closing date, and less flexible with the offer price. Conveyances. While conveyances are defined by Localities Board of the Realtors, the general rule of thumb is that attached fixtures stay with the home and non-realty items, personal property, go with the seller. In negotiations, a buyer may request that certain personal property items stay with the home, such as furniture, window treatments, or a refrigerator. Earnest money and option fee. It is in the seller's best interest for the buyer to put as much into escrow as possible and as soon as possible. While Localities Board of Realtors has a standard practice for when earnest money and option fee, where applicable, is deposited, the amount is often negotiated. Repairs. Most offers are contingent on the outcome of the home inspection and necessary repairs. Depending on the complexity of the repairs, buyers may ask the seller to make the repairs prior to closing, subject to a follow-up inspection, deduct the repair costs from the sales price, or pay a lump sum at closing to cover the cost.
Perfect. All righty. So conveyances, something that I want, a couple points I want to touch upon. It is standard and customary for the refrigerator, the stove, the washer dryer, microwave if it's a built-in, what else? Dishwasher, stuff like that. It is standard and customary for it to be included in the sale, but you still have to make sure you're marking it off if you're representing the buyer. And if you're the seller and you all of a sudden notice that they didn't actually mark that, you may have an opportunity to keep those things because they didn't request it. So make sure you are very clear with your buyers or sellers if the refrigerator is staying with the property, if the stove is staying with it, if all this is staying, or if it's going. We want to make sure we're very clear on that. So just wanted to touch upon that. Repairs. Typically, whenever I'm asking for repairs, I don't want the seller to do the repairs. I want to get a credit at close of escrow for for non-recurring and recurring closing costs, or whatever it's called. The reason why I want that is so my buyer can take care of those repairs themselves. They can pick their own contractor, they can pick their own person, and it's done. And if they're able to save a little bit of money in the process, all the better. Now, if they're not open to that, the next thing that I would do is then request the seller to just do the repairs themselves. Because oftentimes the seller's objection is, I can do it for cheaper. Fine, if you can do it for cheaper, great. As long as it's to code and as long as there's no defects in the repair, I'm fine with that. So that's just something that I wanted to keep in mind. Earnest money deposit, that's typically always going to be a 3%. If it is a strong buyer's market, you may want to be able to negotiate the earnest money, but typically it's standard. And I don't mind putting that up, even if it is a buyer's market, because you get that back if you fall out of escrow anyway, as long as your contingencies are still in place. Okay, the 3 Ps approach. Negotiation is a skill that can be learned and perfected with experience. The best practice for negotiating, bringing the buyer and seller together is the 3 Ps approach. Prepare, present, position. All righty. Prepare, know your goal. Know what you want the outcome to eventually be. Have a clear goal for reaching a win-win agreement in which the buyer and the seller are satisfied with the outcome of the negotiation. Remind your client of their motivation for moving or buying the house. And that when the contract closes, they'll be able to move on with their lives. Know your client. Make sure you fully understand your client's goals. Learn the areas in which they are willing to negotiate and where they will stand firm. Before I even walk into a negotiation, I talk to my buyers fully. What do you want to achieve with this request? I want to know what they will accept, what they won't accept, and what their bottom line is. If I know that they are willing to just go, hey, listen, we're just trying to see if we can get a little bit money back. And honestly, like, even if they say no to all of this, like, we're still going to go forward with the deal. I want to know that ahead of time. Why? Because it just makes the negotiation process that much more fluid. It's easier instead of having to go, well, let me ask my buyer that. I don't know. Let me go ask. I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. I already know the answer, and I might say, just for, like, dramatics and appearance. I'll say, I have to go check with my buyer real quick. Let me get back to you. I'm not even making the phone call. I'm just like sitting around. I play a round of Call of Duty or something like that. And I make a phone call after I'm done with that. And I go, hey, well, I talked to my buyer. Listen, I know that you're saying no to all the repairs. We asked for $20,000. Is there anything that you could do? Could you meet us somewhere? I don't want to put this in a writing yet. Like, could you meet us at $5,000 or something like that? They're really animate that they're concerned about these repairs. If they're still going, absolutely not. Oh, no. We're gonna get ready to cancel escrow. Okay, let me call my buyer again one more time. I'm sorry. Let me just check. Play another round of Call of Duty. Get back on the phone and go. All right. Okay. Fine. We'll move forward with the deal. No problem. All good. Make sense? Okay. Think ahead. Anticipate what the other party wants out of the negotiation. Write down how you think they may counter the offer and how you plan to handle it. Big time. This is a chess match. You want to think what steps they're going to take. When I do this, they're going to do that. When they do that, I'm going to do this. You want to know exactly what's going to happen ahead of time. so you can go play your Call of Duty matches. Alrighty, set clear expectations. Prior to the meeting with the other party, set clear and realistic expectations with your client, and then under promise and over deliver. Stress the importance of moving quickly to create a sense of urgency. Part of setting clear expectations with your client is being clear what the win-lose agreements are likely to be rejected by the other side. To set yourself up for success, make it a win-win. All right, so what does that mean? Listen, I know we're requesting $20,000, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you, in this market, they may reject all of it. If they happen to reject all of it, how do you want to proceed? You're still okay with the deal? Okay. I just want to let you know, I don't think they're going to accept all of these requests. And if I'm honest, that's what I'm going to say. All right. And then if we meet somewhere in the middle, even better. Be informed. Before making an offer or counteroffer, it's good practice to speak to two other agents. Ask open-ended questions and use active listening to find out as much as you can about the other party and their agent. This helps you know with whom you are negotiating, on what points you will negotiate, and where your client will have leverage. Obey the laws. Every state and locality has its own set of laws that regulate zoning, mortgage qualifications, and other real estate matters. Stay current on your local regulations and stay out of court. Typically, if we are asking for credits, by the by, what percentage of the deal can we ask? Have a great one, Ari. How much can we, if we have a loan on a property, what's our lending limits dictate? 3% of the purchase price. We can ask for 3% of the purchase price as a for request for repairs. That's typical. All right. Good stuff. Know the documents inside and out. Become familiar with your local board of realtors governing forms. Take the time needed to and understand the form templates and blah, 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 blah. All good stuff. Definitely good. Okay, your turn. Prepare to negotiate. All right. So who wants to negotiate with me? Come on. I'm not that good at negotiating. I promise. I'm teaching. I'm not going to bite.
I'll do it.
All right, Josh. Here's our scenario. Read the scenario before. Identify the key areas in which you need more information or certainty before you could confidently negotiate on your client's behalf. Write 3 specific questions you would ask your client in the space provided below. Okay. Scenario. Josh, if you could read the scenario for us.
You are representing a single buyer. Your client is renting her present property. Like any first-time buyer, she's looking to you to guide her through the process. The asking price for the home she really loves is $175,000. The house appears to have evidence of a roof leak, is listed as is, and is correctly priced. Your client would like to keep her payments as low as possible since she still has a number of student loans to pay off. She wants to write an offer for $155,000. There has been quite a bit of activity on the listing.
All righty. So Josh, I'll be your client. All righty. So let me bring myself up. Okay, just so everybody knows. So Josh, think about what you're going to do. So the scenario, you are representing a single buyer. Your client is renting her present property. Like any first-time buyer, she is looking to you to guide her through the process. The asking price for her home she really loves is $175,000. The house appears to have an evidence of a roof leak is listed as is, meaning they're going to do no repairs, and is correctly priced. Your client would like to keep her payments as low as possible since she still has a number of student loans to pay off. She wants to write an offer for $155,000, but there's been quite a bit of activity on the listing. So here are the situations. Listed at $175,000. They're saying it's being sold as is. There's a roof leak that's happening. She doesn't want to, spend too much money and keep her costs down and wants to offer $155,000. By the by, there's already offers on the table. What are we going to say to our client?
We should tell our client that it's probably not wise to only offer $155,000, but instead maybe offer the full $175,000 asking price. But in the offer, ask for a line of credit for repairs, maybe for 5 to 10,000.
Uh-huh. That's a good one. I like that. You know, some things that I would ask the client, by the by, Ari, not Ari, Josh. What is it about the house that makes it your favorite? You know, don't we want to ask her again, why is this house your favorite? Remind her that you're picking this house over all the other ones that we saw. What about this house makes it your favorite? And let's say she says, because of the location.
Mhm.
It's close to my kid's school. It's in the right price range. You know, I'm approved for up to 200, but you know, it's below my my max pre-approval amount, so I feel confident in it. All right. Do you really want to stay at your asking price of 155,000? You know, I'd probably ask that after. What if the seller counters with a full offer to fix the roof, or counters with no repairs at all? So these are all things that we want to ask our client before we end up writing this offer, mainly because, you know, if we explain to her that there's a possibility that we are going to lose this place if we offer low, they may be inclined to go, you know what, okay, there's a lot of activity on it. My top range is up here, it's still below it. You know what, we can do it. Another thing that I would probably say to my client is, you know, do you maybe would you be, if there were no issues with the house, if there were no issues at all whatsoever, and you know the roof leak was taken care of, would you offer 175,000? If they say yes to that, I would say, you know what, let's go ahead, write the offer at $175,000, and then if we get into escrow on this, we'll do a huge inspection. I know it says as is, but remember, everything's up for negotiation. And then once we do the big, you know, inspection, we're going to list all the things that are wrong with it, put a huge, you know, bid together and submit it to the other side and say, listen, we thought it was great at 175, but we found out that not only is there a roof leak, but there is foundation damage, there's electrical issues, there's this, there's that, whatever. So what we want now is $50,000 off the asking price. Holy crap, no way in hell are we going to do that. Okay, well, what are you willing to do? I know you said as is, but you know, if we fall out of escrow, you have to disclose now all the things we found wrong with your property. Are you confident that the other buyers are going to not ask for a request for repairs at this point? Put a little doubt into the listing agent's mind. And all,
I have a question about that. So because you're including the roof leak once you get into escrow, could they come back and say, well, that was disclosed before you submitted the offer? So can they kind of like, you know, come back with that and not allow you to have some kind of credit when negotiating because that was already a known fact before putting in an offer?
So let's read the scenario again. I don't, and I might be wrong, I don't believe it says it was disclosed. I think it says that she noticed a roof.
Yeah, I just said the house appears to have.
Yeah. So it wasn't disclosed. So no, they can't come back and say it was already disclosed. It was not disclosed. It
Okay.
appeared, it may have been obvious, but it wasn't disclosed. So you can play dumb and go, well, when we wrote the offer, we didn't notice it.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. I'm not a professional roofer. I'm not a moisture and mold mitigation expert. I just thought maybe you had some cooking grease up on the ceiling. I don't know, like whatever.
Right. But
So-
in the case it is disclosed, then you cannot submit the offer as is and then come back and escrow and,
Sure you can. Why not?
okay.
You know, just blame it on the additional repairs that you found. Like, you know what? Listen, we found all these other things. There's a fire door that goes from there's a door that goes from the garage to one of the rooms, and it's not fire rated. There's we noticed that the plumbing is PEX, which is a type of a plastic, like PVC almost type material. It's flexible type plumbing, and it's not copper. So you know that concerns us. That doesn't mean it's not to code, by the way. It just means that it's a different type of plumbing. We noticed that there's some Romex wiring that is not sleeved inside of a conduit, and the connections of the junction boxes were not closed off. That's a fire risk. So, you know, we wanted to ask for all these repairs to be taken care of, but because we want to play ball with you and we don't want to be a rude agent, we're just going to ask for the repair for the roof leak. Sound good?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, you know, there's always a way around something. Okay. Good question though, Morgan. Thank you. All right. Am I sharing this now? Yes, I am. Okay. Okay. Present. Move into the negotiation process by presenting your current offer to the co-operating to the other agent and listen to the response. Call the agent to let them know that your offer or counter offer is coming. Then invite them. Okay, whatever. We don't use that anyway anymore. Call the other agent and let them know you will be presenting an offer or counter offer. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues. While it is not always possible or practical to make your presentation in face, a face-to-face meeting allows you to analyze body language and facial expression. Otherwise, present your offer by phone and listen for verbal cues. I have never in my career, and maybe this will change, I bet the next one will probably be my first one just because that's the way things work. I've never presented an offer in person. In today's age of technology, it's a very old school kind of thing to do. Maybe in some markets people do that still, but we don't do that here at all. Okay, keep quiet. Once you present an offer, sometimes letting the other person do most of the talking is the most powerful negotiation technique because of what they will reveal. Listen carefully to what is important to the other party. Write down what they say to demonstrate that you are taking them seriously, and then move on. Stay calm and relaxed. Either party may be having a strong emotional reaction to the price or other terms of the offer. Be a calming influence until they are able to see the situation rationally again. Remember, you are there as a representative for your client. Keep your emotions out of it. This is a big one. We do this day in, day out. When you've gone through enough deals, it's very hard to surprise me, if I'm going to be honest at this point. I've, in my short period of time as a realtor, I've only been doing this for about 4.5 years now. Actually, no, longer than that because I was at Rodeo, sorry. But anyway, 5 years, let's just say. I've seen a lot of different variables in offers. I've had divorces. I've had husbands all of a sudden leave in the middle of escrow to go on a permanent vacation to the Philippines. I've had it all. And there's still, and I haven't had it all, and that's just scratching the surface. So the point is every single transaction that we have, there's going to be something about it that is just weird, that throws a curveball. It is our job to be the calming influence. Okay, focus on your customer's needs. Isolate the objections on both sides and offer solutions that will satisfy the other party while still meeting your client's own core needs. Give your offer the best chance. Be confident and committed to your offer as you present it. Avoid indicating to the other side if you believe it is less than great offer for them. This is an amazing offer. What are you talking about? All righty, your turn. Nonverbal cues. So this one has all the answers in it because I'm showing the instructor edition. But in the time allotted, write down as many nonverbal cues, body language, tone of voice, rate of speech as possible that suggest the negotiation is going in a positive or negative direction. Face to face, again, not going to always happen, but all good. Open gestures, nodding, sitting back, open palms, may indicate agreement, understanding, or interest. Negative, closed gesture, crossed arms, lack of eye contact. They may indicate lack of interest or disagreement. On the phone, upbeat, emphatic, varied tones, and a swift pace of speech. Negative for on the phone, a monotone flat voice, a loud tone, tone, and an abrupt or especially slow speed. Now, if you're a good agent, you're going to sound monotone all the time, just so you know. And you want to just sound, all right. Okay, I'll present that over. And that's how you want to sound if you're the listing side. You don't want to sound super excited. You don't want to sound, whatever. Don't show your cards. Now, if somebody's being deceitful, what are some ways that we can determine that somebody's not being 100% honest or trying to hide something? Typically when somebody is trying to hide something or being dishonest, there's anxiety. They have to think harder. If anybody ever tells a lie, it's a lot easier to tell the truth than it is to tell a lie. Lying requires additional brain power. You are going to be a little bit fidgety. You're going to be a little bit like this. You're going to be crossed armed. You're going to be kind of, not looking them in the face. You're going to be looking around. Yep. So the point is if you're talking to another side and you're saying, blah, 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 well, we have higher offers and their arms are crossed and, they sound whatever. They might not actually have higher offers. So just keep that in mind. Like listen to like tonality of people's cadence. If all of a sudden they're acting different than how they've been acting before, there's a reason for that. Try to figure it out. It's a little bit tricky, but I promise you'll be able to get the hang of it once you've done enough deals. Okay, identifying tactics and use counter tactics. This is so much more fun when I don't give you the answers. So let's have I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to read it. And I'm going to ask you all, what are the counter tactics? Okay. In negotiating, your clients or agents may use certain methods or tactics in an attempt to manipulate the negotiation. Because these tactics are generally predictable, and by the by, if you all can go into the chat box and open this up on your own so you have it on your screen, we can go into page 19 of 33 and we'll do this together. All right. Because these tactics are generally predictable, you can learn to quickly and accurately identify them when they are being used on you. Additionally, you can respond with the appropriate counter tactic with a high probability of accurately predicting how your response will be taken. The following are three of the most common tactics used in negotiations and counter tactics to use in response. Okay, the first tactic in a negotiation is nibbling. Once your client has agreed upon a major concession, the other party will start nibbling and asking for additional smaller concessions. What do we do in that situation? Okay, so your client has agreed upon a major concession. All right, I agree to a $10,000 credit at close of escrow to the buyers. And then all of a sudden they start going, yeah, and you know what? We also want to have a longer escrow. We want to extend it for another week. Why? Oh, well, because of moving. It's got to hire a bunch of stuff. What do we do in that situation? What would you do in that situation? Cindy, what would you do in that situation? They're trying to nibble away you already gave them a concession and then they keep going and asking for more.
I would say, let me review this with my client. And then I would let them hold for a minute, get back to them. And then obviously my client would say no. So I'd be like, because we've already gone above and beyond. Unfortunately, we cannot compromise when it comes to this.
Okay,
if they didn't want to compromise. If they did want to compromise, then I would say great. And then maybe I would ask for something in return for my other client if they wanted something in return.
I love that one. I do that very frequently. Sometimes just saying no is a great one. There's another tactic that you can use that makes them feel like you're not just saying no, but will get them to back off. And that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
What else could you do? What else could you do? They're asking, you already agreed to something. Now they're asking for more.
Then I would just say we've already gone above and beyond and we can't accommodate this anymore.
Well, is there something that maybe you could do that would make it appropriate for you to give back more? Maybe the other side could do something?
Did you ask, like, on behalf of your client for something in return. It's like, all right, we'll do this if you do that, like kind of a back and forth situation.
Say it one more time, Josh.
A back and forth situation where if they ask for more concessions, then you turn it back on them and say, if we continue doing this, then we're going to need this as well, for my client.
Yep.
Put it back on them.
You nibble right back. Just give them a taste of their own medicine. Hey, we just agreed to that $10,000 concession. How about we just make it $5,000 and agree to your other request? Oh no, we want the 10,000. Okay, so let's just keep it as is. Right? Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Move forward. Awesome. So yes, start nibbling back. When you nibble back, they will probably back off on it. If it was that big of a deal, they would have asked it up front. All right. So remember, when they start nibbling, nibble right back. We agreed to that $10,000 concession, but now you're asking for something on top of that. We had already agreed to this. So let's revisit that negotiation. So how about instead of the $10,000 credit, we do a $5,000 credit, and we'll extend your escrow period to another 7 days on top of our additional, on top of the 30, make it 37. In fact, why don't we just give you 40, but we're going to need $5,000 back from that $10,000 credit. Sound good? No, it doesn't sound good. I wanted the $10,000 for my client. Oh, okay, so that's more important to you than this, 7-day additional? Yeah, way more important. Okay, so well, we're good with that. Let's keep the escrow as is. We'll close in 30 days, and then you'll keep your $10,000. Sound good? Okay, yeah. Thank you. Sorry, I was asking for a lot there. I know. I'm sorry. My clients get a little bit crazy sometimes, and they just have these ideas, and I don't know why they. Anyway, don't be that agent. Be the agent who's staying cool, calm, and collected, and nibble right back. Throw it
So
right back.
essentially, you end up right back where you initially agreed. It's just a way of them kind of, stopping the continuance of the additional concessions.
Exactly. And then also, you're not just saying no. You know what I mean? So you're still
Right.
you're still in this in the realm of good faith. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm working with you. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, we need to revisit our negotiations. If this was such a big deal, you should have asked for it originally, and you didn't. So, now that you're asking for something on top of that, we're going to have to revisit what we were just referring to, we're talking about. Or maybe they're asking for the 7 days. Be like, great. Well, we'll need it per diem per day. That's another way I would do it. Instead of going back to the negotiating table on the $10,000, I would say, okay, great. You want an additional 7 days to close? Fine, we'll give you 10 days, an additional 10 days if you want. But for every single day that we don't close, let's say the escrow is, your client's mortgage payment is, hold on. Let's say it's $5,000 a month for their mortgage divided by 30. So for every day that we don't close, it's $166 per day for my client to cover their mortgage, plus utilities and yada, yada, yada. We want $200 per day per diem for my client for every single day that we don't close. If we do that, you can have your 7 days. You can have 10 days. You can have 30 days if you want. No, it's fine. Okay, great. Let's just keep it as is. So nibble back. All righty. The next one, hot potato. The other party tries to pass a problem on to you. For example, the cooperating agent tries to pass all closing costs onto your client because their client can't afford them. What do we do in that situation? Cindy, I liked your response to the first one. What was it again?
We've already gone above and beyond
Yep.
that one.
Throw it right back to them. Test the validity of it. Find out if the problem is real. Has the party with the problem exhausted every single solution that they have? I doubt it. No, we're not going to. What? We're in escrow. You're supposed to be able to cover closing costs. You didn't even mention this. No, absolutely not. We can't do that.
Nice.
Boom. Just throw it right back at them. We're going above and beyond, unfortunately. So hot potato. No, you get it. No, I get it. No, you get it. And see if it's real. See if it's a real deal breaker for them. If it is, then we can go to the negotiation table. But at first, just throw it right back to them to say, no. All righty, good guy, bad guy, or good girl, bad girl.
Would you bring that up at the beginning before you go into escrow?
Asking them to close.
To pay for closing costs? Mhm.
I mean, yeah, ideally it should be, but this is assuming that we're in escrow.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that would be the time too.
Yeah, but if you have offers on the table, for
Mhm.
example, you're in a multiple offer situation, you know, hot potato it back right then and there. You're like, nope, we won't be able to do it.
Cool.
Why? Because I have other offers on the table and they're better. They're not asking for that. You are. So no, we can't do that. So yeah, it could be in any situation, really. All of these can be in any situation technically, but I think for discussion purposes, we're in escrow. Good girl, good guy, bad guy, whatever. Good person, bad person. All right. Two people working together, example, a husband and wife, will take on the opposing roles. One appears to be friendly and considerate, while the other behaves in a difficult or aggressive manner. Think of the typical car salesperson, good guy, who says that his manager, the bad guy, won't let him reduce the price any further. What do you do in that situation?
I think you should work on persuading the good guy to then relay your interest to the bad guy, especially if it's a married couple where I assume the husband could listen to his wife or, be persuaded through the wife rather than through yourself.
Absolutely. Put it on to the good person. Yeah, absolutely. That's actually right in the textbook. Call them on their game. You can even say, "Come on, you're not going to play good cop, bad cop, are we?" If that continues to happen, then attribute what the bad guy says to the good person. Since they are a tag team anyway, this will likely diffuse the tactic because you now have two bad guys, and for some reason it seems to work. The husband's being a jerk about it. He's like, "I won't do this. I refuse to do this." You look to the wife and go, "So you really are not going to do this because of that?" I understand that, but I'm so wow. I really can't believe that. And then the good cop is going to go, "No, I like being the good cop. No, it's okay, honey. Stop being a jerk. Yeah, we're fine. We'll do it. It's okay." So just try to diffuse it by putting it onto the good cop and seeing how it goes from there. Because oftentimes, they're just doing a tactic that they just learn that in back of a magazine on psychology. They're not playing it well, and we know how to counteract that. Okay, 3. We're moving on down. So now we're on page 20 of 33. I'm going to share my screen again. Any questions so far on negotiating and tactics? All right. Okay, positioning is moving both parties closer to each other until you have a full agreement. Acknowledge and affirm the common ground where the buyer and the seller are in agreement and they are in the same position. Then identify which position may be easily adjusted and which ones are set in stone. So, for example, where do we have a little bit of play? We want to figure that out not only ahead of time, but also recheck and keep checking in with them. Is this still okay? Is this whatever? All righty. Ask what and how questions to better understand the other party's values and why certain things are important to them. For example, you can say you represent a seller who wants to close in 30 days. If a buyer wants to close in 60 days, ask your client, "Mr. and Mrs. Seller, are you requesting a 30-day closing? What is important about a closing in 30 days? If your client becomes defensive, you would explain, "My goal is to let the buyer know why this is important to you." Did I read that right? It seemed a little confusing to me. "Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you are requesting 30-day closing. What is important about it?" Hold on, let me just read this one more time. For example, you say you represent a seller who wants to close in 30 days. If a buyer wants to close in 60 days, ask your client. Oh, I see what he's saying. So, okay, so in this situation, your seller wants to close in 30 days. You have an offer on the table that wants to close in 60 days. I'm going to then ask to my sellers, why is it that 30 days is so important to you? If they then become defensive, you will explain, "My goal is to let the buyer know why this point is important to you." Understanding what is important to the other party allows you to prioritize and address their issues in order of importance. So for example, if the seller all of a sudden goes, "Oh, well, I heard 30 days is standard." Okay, so it's not that important to you. You know, you could potentially close in 60 days. Yeah, I guess I could. Okay, well, all right. I just wanted to understand a little bit further, but I'll try to get them to close in 30. So it's just understanding where their common ground is and what's a big deal to them or not. Understanding what is important to the other party allows you to prioritize and address their issues in orders of importance. Position is a process. It sometimes requires you to come back to the negotiating table more than once. Sometimes several counter offers will be necessary to negotiate an acceptance. Now, for example, some buyers hate the counter offer process. You know, my clients were like, I refuse to get into a bidding war. I don't like it. I don't want it. So, you know, it's interesting. So with those people, I try to coach them into offering very, very strong offers up front. Know when to walk away. This is important. Sometimes the other side may refuse to give your client the win they need despite your efforts. Knowing when and how to walk away can not only save your clients from a win-lose deal, but it can sometimes jolt an unreasonable party into a concession for fear of losing the deal. The key is to walk away without burning bridges. So for example, let's say my buyer found out that there's an issue with the foundation, or you know what, in my case, I'll use an example that just happened for the Santa Barbara one. We found that there was moisture issues in the flooring. When the inspector came, he took the moisture reading device and put it to the floor and was like, this is just full of water, basically. There's either a leak under the foundation, there's this happening, there's whatever's happening, but all we know is that there is moisture coming up from underneath. In that situation, we were in a situation where I knew that my buyers were going to stay in escrow regardless, but I positioned it to the other side as if this was a deal breaker when I was in my negotiations. And why did I do that? Moisture is a big deal. And I know for a fact that if I was a listing agent and I knew that there's moisture issues found inside the floors, that is going to deter a lot of buyers. So when I positioned where my clients were to the listing agent, I said, you know, this is a really big deal. They're really concerned about this. What are we going to do? You know, I listen, I'm sure you don't want to fall out of escrow and have to disclose this to, you know, potential buyers. I know that my buyers don't want to get back into the bidding wars of this and that. Let's come to a common ground and see where we can, you know, meet in the middle. And sure enough, we did, and it was great. But I did, yeah. Uh-huh.
Because of the moisture on the floor. Does that also have something to do with the roof?
No. So
No.
that had to do with a slab foundation.
Oh,
Really what it was is there was a slope in the back of the house.
mhm.
So whenever it rained, water would come down to the house and kind of pool up, go into the soil. And then, you know, gravity, even if the water is in the soil, will take the water, you know, in a, you know, wherever gravity is pulling it. So even though it's in the soil, it's still creeping a little bit to the left or wherever the slope is going. And it's going down, but to where the slope is going as well. So what happens is when the water gets underneath the house and naturally it evaporates,
Right.
it's coming up inside the slab concrete foundation and eventually going up into the floors. So that's what the issue was. Or there was a leak in one of the pipes. And if that's the case, you know, we knew how much it was going to cost to repair the leak. We knew how much it was going to cost to take up the floors, and that's how we presented a line of credit. So yeah. And by the by, Cindy, it's not up to us to diagnose those issues. We're real estate professionals. Even if I did work in construction for 10 years before I got in real estate, I'm no longer a construction expert. I'm now a real estate expert. So I leave that up to the inspectors and all the inspectors that come and give bids and stuff. And I don't diagnose, I let them diagnose. It's
No, absolutely. I was just curious.
No, absolutely. And it pays to have a curious mind, but just so you know, I don't diagnose, I let them diagnose. All righty. Okay, choose a partner, practicing positioning. Choose a partner. One person will play a buyer agent and the other will play the listing agent. Take a few minutes to review the scenario and information about your role. Using what you've learned so far in this session, take 1 to 2 minutes to prepare for negotiation. Present your case to the partner in practicing position, and practice positioning. Go back and forth 2 times, both aiming to arrive at a win-win agreement. Okay, I'm going to ask Cindy and Morgan to do this one. Who wants to be the buyer agent? Who wants to be the listing agent? I'm not going to show your roles yet, though.
I'll be the buyer agent.
Okay, Morgan, you cool with being the listing agent?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, the scenario. All right. The property has a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and is okay. Let's start that over. The property has a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, and is listed for $350,000 in a well-established neighborhood. Okay, let's change that a little bit. The property has a 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths, and is listed for $3,500,000 in a well-established neighborhood. It's in Brentwood. The house requires new carpeting throughout the first floor and a new garage door opener. 3 offers have been made, but all were below asking price. All righty. So, buyer agent, Cindy, this is you.
Mm-hmm.
You are making an offer at $340,000 for the house. They have been pre-approved. The buyers would like to close in the shortest time possible since they are moving from the state and need a home for their family. Since they are leaving their appliances in their current home, the buyer would also like all the appliances to be included. All right.
Okay.
Read that over a couple times while I go over the other one with Morgan. All right.
You said
Listing agent-
340,000, but can we do it like 3.4 or something just to kind of like
Yeah,
match up with the 3.
Yeah, 3.4 million. Sorry.
Don't
All
worry.
right. Morgan, you are the listing agent. Your sellers have raised their family in the house you are selling and have many friends and family in the area. Since their children are now grown, they no longer need the amount of space in their current home provides and have purchased a new home in Florida. They would like to give all the appliances to their daughter, who has just gone through a divorce. They will not be moving until they have sold their current house, and although they would like to get to Florida as soon as possible, they are ready to stand their ground regarding the price. All righty. So Cindy, just for giggles and laughs, let's make your offer at $3,490,000.
Okay.
Just to make that a little bit more palatable, because $100,000 gap is a lot more than $10,000. All right. So your offer is $3,490,000. And Morgan, you know your role, and start whenever you're ready.
The house still needs new carpet, right?
Yep.
What else? Wait, I'm sorry. No established neighborhood and the new garage door, or is it door opener?
New garage door opener.
Hi, Miss Dixon. How are you today?
Good, Cindy. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I spoke to my buyers, and they would like to present an offer for you.
Okay. What is the offer?
So we are willing to do all appliances, and hopefully the carpets and the new garage door will be taken care of, because we know those things need a little bit of fixing. And it would be for $3,490,000
$90,000.
with
Okay.
a
Sorry.
fast close.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
With a fast close.
Okay. Well, I like the terms. My clients need a fast close because they are relocating to Florida. I really like your offer. Everything sounds great. Other than the fact that you are interested in the appliances. My client was pretty adamant about wanting to give the appliances to their daughter, who recently just went through a divorce. So if you're coming in at $3,490,000, that's a $10,000 gap from 3.5 of where we're listed. So if you could come up to the ask price, because I would say the 10,000 would be able to cover the carpets and garage remote. I don't know. Is that a good counter? Like, how would I navigate that?
Yeah, so by, Cindy, you left out that you wanted the carpets changed, just so you know.
Oh.
All good. But yes, Morgan, that sounds like that would be a pretty good counter. Now, Cindy, how would you counter that?
I would say let me talk to my buyers, and then if they're okay with it, then we would take it. If not, then I would say would 3495 work?
Yeah, I think we could do that. Obviously, I know those are issues that you want to be addressed, and I agree with you that there is a monetary value for those. So I don't mind coming down 5,000 as long as my clients approve of that offer. So I think that would be a good price to counter back at, and if they accept, then everything sounds good.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it. I want to hop in there, and I'm jealous of Cindy, so I want to take her role real quick because I love working with buyers a lot. So, and I want to practice my skills a little bit. Morgan, do you mind if I practice with you?
That's fine. I may not be the best listing agent at this moment, but sure, go for it.
All good. All good. I'll just see what I can do. All right. Hey, Morgan. Thanks so much. My clients love the property, by the way. So, a couple things that we noticed. Floors are totally shot. It's not to your client's fault. I get it. They've lived in the house forever. Did you say that they raised their children in the house?
That's correct. Yes.
That's awesome. I love that. Listen, the house is great. There's going to be a little bit of work for us the second we move in. So we came up with an idea. I understand that you're listed at 3,500,000. So we're going to try to get there as close as possible. My clients are willing to do $3,490,000. They want to keep the appliances, though. I know that it mentioned that appliances are not coming with the property. But because it's going to cost them $10,000 to do the floors and get new appliances, this is why we feel this is a fair number. So by coming in at $3,490,000, I know that my clients will be able to buy new appliances and probably take up most of the flooring costs. How does that sound? And by the by, we're willing to do a quick close. We can close in 30 days. They just moved over from Virginia, and they need to buy the house quick.
Hey Jared, so that sounds like a good offer, and I really appreciate the quick close as my clients are looking to relocate quickly to Florida. So everything sounds good, and I understand the floors are a concern to you. My only issue with your offer is that my clients did want to keep their appliances, and I understand that your clients are interested in those. Because you're not at full ask, and they are having to not only get $10,000 less, but also give up the appliances, which was really important to them. I'll need to relay your offer to my clients, and we may not be able to do less than $10,000 acceptance, but maybe I could include some kind of incentive for the flooring and a percentage for the appliances. I don't know how would you keep your client's interest in mind, like with the appliances, but still reason with.
Let's play this out. So okay, so you're willing to what was your counter again?
So I'm coming back at $3,495,000.
Okay. So for $3,495,000, you're willing to do that. Okay.
And that's with the appliances included.
That's with the appliances included. Okay, we'll take that deal. That's actually exactly where I was going to go with it. If you were going to come back and say, for example, it's great, but we have a $10,000 gap. We could probably do a credit, something like that or whatever. I was actually, my goal was to do 395. 3495 is where I was hoping to go. So that's great. So we were able to meet in the middle. But what I would want to point out to everybody who's listening in is, so right now we have a $10,000 gap. That $10,000 gap does perfectly almost represent flooring and appliances. So in this situation, what I would probably try to focus on is, one, Morgan really wants the full ask price. My clients really want floors and appliances. So I would probably say, great, well, would your clients be willing to replace the floors and purchase new appliances if we were to go at full ask price? So at $3,500,000, we could do $3,500,000. You get to keep your appliances, but you need to replace them of like kind. And then we would also want a credit towards close of escrow for the and we want you to replace the floors with like kind, but just new. So that's probably where I would go with that.
I actually really like that.
Yeah, so that's probably where I would gravitate towards, just knowing that, one, your sellers want full ask price, and two, they want their appliances. So if sometimes for some reason it doesn't make full financial sense, people just want to know that they sold it for $3,500,000. They don't care that they're going to buy new appliances. They don't care that they're going to rip the floors up and give them new floors. They probably even realize that it's going to sell for a net of $3,490,000. But they want to tell their friends in the neighborhood, I sold it for $3,500. People are weird. Never underestimate the weirdness of people, and how much they want to save face. It's actually pretty funny, and you'll see that a lot in this industry. So sometimes people just want to show that they closed at a certain price. It's kind of funny, but it is what it is. So good job, everybody. That was awesome. And Cindy, that was you knocked it out of the park.
Really, I think I did terrible.
I don't think so at all. I think you did great.
Can I ask you a question? When does this come so fast and naturally, like you? By when do we become like that?
Just practice, and also, I think you care so much that you're overanalyzing, and I think
I can take that because I'm very hard on myself. So, I want to get to like how Jared sounds, like bam, 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 like check, check, and check. Like I want to get there already. Like I'm eager.
And you know why I got there? If I showed you how many offers I've written, how many whatever, I've probably written 300 offers, 400 offers, 500 offers in a 5-year period of time. So, I'm used to this. I'm very used to getting into a negotiation. So for me, it's like asking for a cup of coffee. When you went to Starbucks the first time and you were like, I'd like a small coffee, and your friend kind of snickered, like, it's a blah, blah, blah. Like, I still don't know if it's a grande or a venti or whatever, but you get a little nervous. Like, by the by, venti, that means 20. It doesn't even mean large. They're totally screwing up. And that's the only one that's Italian. The other one are a lot anyway. But the point is I don't know what the heck how to order coffee sometimes. So I get a little flustered whenever I'm going to a Starbucks. So my point is anything that's new to you is going to sound different. When you're learning a new language, which by the by, negotiating real estate transactions, it's a new language. You're going to be a little bit, whatever. Like when I first learned a little bit of Spanish, like, when I first learned how to say quesadilla, like
Hablas español. Yo no sabía.
Un poquito.
Very good.
Yeah, I just know the bad stuff. So in any event, but when I first learned how to say quesadilla, I was like, quesadilla? Like, no, bro, it's not quesadilla. It's anyway, my point is like it takes a second, just to learn different things.
You're done with the session. Can you put in the chat like what books you recommend? Because I already have I have a few, but I wouldn't mind seeing what you've already read, if you have read any. Or
for negotiations and stuff?
Yeah.
You know what? Chris Voss is one badass mofo. I don't know why I censored the last part when I'm using a cuss word in the beginning. But Christopher Voss, hold on, let me see if I can find it. He teaches a master class. Huh?
That Never Split the Difference?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have that. I just got it.
Yep. Now, he also does a masterclass that you can watch and do. You pay for it, but it teaches the art of negotiation, and it's pretty dope. I like it a lot. So I'm gonna put that, boom,
Thank you.
in the chat. And you know, he's an interesting character, and I really, really like him a lot. So I'm putting the link for the masterclass. I'm not a big reader. I'm going to be honest with you. I love books. I oftentimes listen to books on tape,
Mhm.
just because I'm an auditory learner. When I was growing up, I found out that I was dyslexic and I had sequential processing deficits, which means I take things whenever, like, I get lost in the sequence of things, but I take in things in whole. So I'm actually a really good speed reader. Which is weird. I found that out later in life, but I'm really bad at, like, you know, going slow. Like, for some reason, math problems for me, I can do an entire, like, algebra 2 problem practically in my head, but the second I start writing down all the answers, I get lost. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I'm focusing on, like, how I wrote my 6 or something like that. It's weird. So I learn differently from a lot of people. So I like auditory. So I like, you know, YouTube videos. I like books on tape. I like stuff like that. And it's proven to be, you know, amazing for me. But if you're a reader, you know, he has a great book as well. But I listen to it on tape. But also his master class on negotiations is pretty good. Is pretty cool. Unfortunately, they charge $15 a month. So if you end up doing one class, but you don't want to keep continuing doing all these different classes, you might want to cancel it real quick. So just so you know.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's get back to it. Oh, is that? Oh no, I just have an old one up. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, where was I? Okay, awesome. So that was a great little negotiation. Oh, we are done. Ah, that's so cute. Great. So that's pretty much all we wrote. The next thing is putting it all together, which is our action plan and all that fun stuff, preparing for your next class. So before we go, do we have any questions about negotiations? And by the by, negotiating is not a science. It is a bit of an art. You know, I I'd be lying to you if I told you that all of my, you know, negotiations go my way. They don't. You have to have a little bit of flexibility whenever you're negotiating anything. So just out of curiosity, do you have any questions in regards to that that I could try to help you with? Stuff like that.
I'm good right now, but if something
Okay.
comes, you know, I'll be calling you.
Absolutely. You got my number, homegirl. Cool. We're good? Go
Good.
use.
This actually helped a lot, so thank you.
Good. I'm really, really glad. I'm happy.
Yes.
All right, y'all.
Thank you. And then thank you for the advice on my client because when she called, she was crying. So I was able to calm her down. And I told her, like, listen, we got this. I already spoke to a lawyer because I also called Michael as soon as you gave me the number. And
And what did he say?
he said that first refusal, and then he said if it already went through, we would have to get legal. She would have to get a lawyer. So and she was like, okay. And then the new owner showed up to the property unannounced. So it kind of like freaked her out even more. And I was like, remember, they have to give you notice before they do that. They can't just do that to you. You have something called renter's rights. And then they're like, if you choose to leave, you have 20 something days to go. And I was like, they can't do that right now because of the eviction moratorium, which I also talked to Michael about. And he said, yeah, because it's Long Beach. All of California right now is pretty much because of that. And then I was like, just make sure if you're going to sign that contract, if you choose to stay, that you add the 120 after the eviction. So that way, if they extend it, because you know how it was supposed to end this month and now they extended it in June, that way you have more time. That way there's no pressure on your end. So.
Love it. I love it. Well, good. I'm glad Michael was able to help.
Yeah.
He's very, very smart in this stuff. Michael's actually a lawyer. And yeah, so good. Let me know how that goes because I'm very curious I've never had that situation, so I'm very curious to learn how that process goes. So feel free to
keep you posted. And does the adrenaline stay like this for every single time you get like a new?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause I was like, whoa, my adrenaline's like through the roof right now.
Good. It's a good feeling. Hey, listen, adrenaline's a drug. You know, you can get addicted to it. So, you know, I certainly am. That's why I go rock climbing and kayaking and, you know, all this fun stuff. I like the feeling. So whenever I'm in a deal and things are getting a little hairy, it's like pumped.
I'm excited to like get there and not feel like I don't know the next line. You know, I'm ready for it to feel like fluid and natural and like actually enjoy the negotiation process. Because I can tell that you.
I think everybody on this call is an expert negotiator. You could teach this class 100%. I'm fully confident Josh is good. I know Cindy knows how to negotiate. She is not afraid to let you know what she's thinking. And Morgan, you are very eloquent in your speech. So I think you all got winning attributes. You got this.
Thank you.
All right. So cheers, y'all. Get into some escrows. And if you're not licensed yet, find somebody to get an escrow with soon, and have a great week. And I'll see you all on Monday.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.